Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always a fun run. I love taking you along with me. You can also find us on go to the netcasters.com, and you'll be able to find other aspects, other ways to get to watch the show, and other awesome talk show hosts as well. Much better than I am. I'm just glad to be in that mix. Speaking of a good talk show host, I got one with me right now. His name is AP Steadham. He's our sports go-to guy. And I always love the change. I got to tell you, I love football better than anything. And you have really shown me the way to basketball. So I had a good time watching the basketball season as well. You got a lot of things. Oh, yeah. You got a lot of stuff going on. What's going on?
Yeah, it's been fun with the basketball done. Coming back from the Final Four, we had Alabama make it to the Final Four for the very first time in program history. We saw Auburn reach that in 2019. And so we're looking for continued success by both Alabama and Auburn with their basketball programs. We've had some movement this week, Donna, kind of interesting with this NIL and transfer portal. Aiden Holloway, the McDonald's All-American guard for Auburn, is committed to transfer to Alabama. So we never thought we'd see those days, Don, but they've arrived where you can move from different teams. Rivals are taking players from the schools, and they're going to be competing for the rival school the very next year. So that's very, very interesting, Donna, to see that from the basketball perspective in football.
I got a question about that. So when you move from Alabama to Auburn or Auburn to Alabama, you know how nasty we can get with competition between the two of us. So are the Alabama people going to give him a little bit of a hard time? And then when we have the Iron Bowl, you're going to see a grudge match? Is it going to be revenge?
Right. I tell you what happens, Donna, when these players, all of a sudden, they're moving from one school to the rival school, the fans from the rival school, they have to eat their words because they've probably been saying some things that weren't so nice about that player. Now they're on that, their team. So it's kind of funny. The fans now, they have to I think they're going to tread lightly now, because the player that you're rooting against one year is going to be on your team the following year. So you better be careful what you say.
Yeah, because it can come back and haunt you. I mean, it really can. So that's very interesting. Why do you think he did that? Why do you think he just moved? Was it money, or, why?
Well, I think that he was a McDonald's All-American with a lot of accolades coming into the program at Auburn. He didn't have a very good shooting year from the field goal percentage, 2-point shots, and the 3-point shots. So he has to improve in that area. But Bruce Pearl, he's always bringing in competition. So he has another combo guard coming in from New Jersey, a very good player. He has a transfer, Pegues, coming in from Furman, double-digit scorer. So coaches are always looking to improve their roster down. So we see at Alabama, there's 4 or 5 players moving on. And you're thinking, here we just had a team reach the Final Four for the very first time they're going to come back and try to repeat. No, they're on the move. They're transferring to other schools. So this is the norm now in college athletics, Donna. You can have that great year, but that's a fleeting moment, because most of the time the players, for instance, maybe they blossom that year and they're thinking, I can get more money with an NIL at a different school. The coach is getting better players, so I'm not going to be able to even compete for the position, because we've had that conversation with the coach, and he's told me, look, you had a good year, but we're bringing in a player that's probably slightly better than you, so just consider that, and then that influences their decision to move on to another school.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's changing. It's all changing. So let's talk about last week. What did you have going on last week?
Yeah, last week, Donna, we had a couple of special guests on our show. Tom McMillan, the CEO and president of Lead One Association. That's he represents the athletic directors from the FBS level of football programs, 130 plus, and he was very interesting. He's talking about the NIL and the transfer portal and what's on the horizon in the future for college athletics, but specifically to football. So that was an interesting conversation. People can hear that. And, we always have conversations that we're looking ahead now. We're always try to project and what's going to happen, because we know these things are happening at the moment. The NIL has affected college athletics, the transfer portal, coaches moving on, players moving on. So it's affected everyone. And then we had a person on, Rick Christ, who's on the organizing committee for the 2024 NFL draft. And speaking of the NFL draft, Donna, I'll be in Detroit this week, so you can watch all our videos and interviews and hear some of our interviews on the show coming up this week on IC Radio at 4 p.m. Central. Here's some of those things that we're going to be doing at the NFL draft in Detroit. So, Donna, the draft used to be held in New York City for 50 years. And then they started moving to all these cities around the country: Chicago, Cleveland, Nashville, Las Vegas, Kansas City. This year it's in Detroit. Next year, Green Bay. So Donna, at the draft this year, there's 13 players who have accepted an invitation, 7 from the SEC, 3 from Alabama, 3 from LSU, and 1 from Missouri will be at the draft. And the ones from LSU, you have Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy quarterback, the 3 from Alabama, Dallas Turner, edge rusher. You have J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle, and Terrion Arnold, the defensive back. And then from Missouri, Darius Robinson, the defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. With all the changes that are happening in football right now, has that changed the way you ask questions? I mean, has that changed the whole process? It just feels like everything is changing.
Yeah, Don. I think that when you're having a chance to meet with players, you have to ask those questions about, will you be coming back next season? Do you like this coaching staff? Are your NIL opportunities satisfying you? Will you be returning next season? And so you have to ask those questions, Donna, because the audience would like to know if the quarterback's going to be returning, if the star running back's going to be returning, the star defensive player will be returning. So you have to ask those type of questions now, because it's a reality and a possibility in the future for these players to move to a different program. The rivals, we've seen the rival.
I kind of miss the old days, though, where people just, they just rooted for that one team. I mean, things didn't change so drastic like they do now. I just miss those. It's more fun competition.
You need a scorecard, Donna. You need a scorecard to look at your team and make sure you understand who's on the roster from year to year. It does become a little bit confusing at times, because football, you have 85 scholarship players. Basketball, there's 13. Women's basketball, there's 15. So in the springtime, you have these transfer portal windows. People are on the move. You have the transfer portal window in December to beginning of January. And then you have the rosters in August when the teams are assembling for the preseason camps. So you're always looking at that roster. You're always watching every day for news that a player is leaving or staying. I mean, that's big news. For instance, Junai Broom, the All-American big man for Auburn, he's returning to the basketball team. That's big news. Cardwell, another big man for Auburn, he's returning. That's great news for Auburn. And Mark Sears, the All-American guard for Alabama, he's testing the waters. He might come back, but we don't know at this point. So he's testing the NBA waters. So we're always watching every day, Donna, for announcements from players. They're coming, they're going, they're thinking about going to the pros. There's windows of where you can test the water. So it's more a fluid situation in all these sports.
Yeah, I think so. And I wanted to mention a question that came from Trey, and it's almost a page. Trey, thank you so much for sending this email. But I kind of get where he's coming from, and this has to do with touchy-feely. And I will make a disclosure. I think you need to always consider other people's thoughts. I really do.
Yes.
However, as Trey says, it seems like that we're in a touchy-feely world now. So how are coaches adjusting just to the sheer personalities, how personalities are changing nowadays?
Well, I think that's been an issue for a while. I would say predominantly the last 5 years, Donna, where people are checking the mental health of their student athletes. That's been very important, because we all know, some of us, and you're born with a solid foundation in your family. Some people it's been a problem through the years. Maybe they don't have a stable home life. Maybe they're born with certain issues. Not everybody's born totally healthy. So there's mental health involved. And so you have to take that into consideration when you're recruiting players. They arrive on campus. Do you have all that support system for them where you can have the daily and the weekly and the monthly annual checkups on their mental health? And they have some guidance, and they have some people that are encouraging them. They're watching them. They're talking through their issues. I mean, these are serious subjects that affect your team. So the coach, whether a coach likes it or not, you must address these issues because all your players, they don't have the same foundation at home. They're not born the same. So that's something that college athletics has made a concentrated effort to address those mental health issues.
But different. I think it's just like different age people think differently. Like, okay, so we're moving Mother into our house. She's got a spare bedroom. So
Yes.
Phil and my brother were out there moving furniture and arranging things. Of course, they're from my age era. They were just like
Right.
just letting each other have it, calling each other weakling and stuff like that. And nobody got offended. And
Right.
so I walked in, they were just laughing it off. And so I walked up and I said, if you two were women, we would be mad at each other, So, but certain guys, it's just, I think it's just generational, I think, because now it seems like we have to be more careful with what we say to some people in younger generations than we
Yeah.
used to. Whereas
Right.
Phil and my brother just slap each other and laugh,
Right. Yeah. I think there's some positives and negatives in this era, Donna. As you said, you have to be careful because I think that some things that were accepted years ago that you can't say now. And I think that's good in some regards. And then also there's things that I think people probably, they overblow. It's an overblown situation. But it's all individual, Donna. I mean, you might take it one way, I might take it a different way. But you're right. It is an era where your words are listened to very closely, and people can interpret them several ways. Sometimes it's not the intended consequence of, and so that's what happens when you get that gray area. So just be, I would say, just be kind to people, and you try to have fun in life. You don't try to make fun of somebody, but you have to try to have fun in life between each other, and I think that's something that you determine when you're around people, Donna. You can only, I don't think you can gauge it, have a preconceived notion. You have to really develop a relationship, and I think that's where coaches, that's a concentration for them to develop relationships. Assistant coaches, everybody in your program, you have a culture of we're trying to improve people. We're trying to make people be their best. And I think that's a good philosophy.
I think so too. And then we're also in the world of the camera where you better watch what you say and you better watch what you do, because there's going to be, when you're out there on the field or anywhere in life, there are a million cameras around. You better be careful what you say.
Yes, that's different. That's different in this era as well.
Absolutely. Let's go into a commercial break. We'll return in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central as I get to ride home with you, and so does AP. AP gets to ride home with you in the afternoon as well. AP, you can find him, AP and Kelly, as we sit. You can find them on our station, iacradio.media. You can also download the app, so that's there as well. Well, AP, we were talking a little bit about feelings, and I think we're over that now.
Right.
So,
Just be respectful.
I don't know.
Be
There's something for
respectful of people. Yeah.
Just that's all you got to do. And so yeah, and just be careful now with the cameras out there because people can take
Yes.
a sound bite and ruin your career if you're not careful. Okay, AP, what else is going on? I know you've got this huge event coming up this week. You want to talk about
Yeah,
that a
yeah,
little
the
bit more?
NFL draft on. It's a lot of fun. We have a chance to visit with the players on. They give us an opportunity the day before the draft. Thursday evening is the first round, so that takes all night down because I think there's 10 or 15 minutes for each selection. Some teams take the full amount of time, so you have 32 teams that can take the whole night. And then Friday is round 2 and round 3, and then Saturday's round 4 through 7. But the day before the draft, we have an opportunity to visit with the players who accepted the invitation. As I said, there's 13, 7 from the SEC, and then some of the other ones that people would know outside of the 7 SEC players. Caleb Williams, University of Southern California quarterback, Drake May, quarterback from the University of North Carolina. So we always have fun. You see their families there. They're so excited. It's a huge day for them. They've been working their entire life for this moment to be drafted and walk across the stage and shake the hand of the commissioner of the NFL. So it's a lot of hoopla. It gets bigger every year down at it's hundreds of thousands of people that would be there at the event in Detroit, downtown Detroit. So this is the first time they've held the draft. As I said, it's been in New York City for many, many years. Radio City Music Hall, Donna, as you can imagine, I always enjoyed covering the event at Radio City Music Hall. Mm-hmm. But now it shifts every year from city to city. So we'll be at the Motor City, Hitsville, USA, Detroit. So I'm looking forward to being there for this draft. And you see a lot of people from around the country that I know in the media. We'll see these players. And Donna, sometimes the coaches show up too of these players. So we have to be really ready for to maybe interview those coaches as well, because they're there to tout their own school, to tout their players that have been doing well in their program. So it's all in their interest to be there when their players drafted in the first round or even the second round. Sometimes they stay the next day if they're not selected the first day. But the head coaches from these colleges, they're at the draft as well. Not only the players, but they're there to support the player and promote their program as well.
And I know each person has a different personality, but what kind of questions do you keep? Kind of a general guideline of questions you ask everybody?
Yeah, you know what? The question that I like to ask the most on it, really, I like to ask the player to give a self-scouting report, because you get an idea from the player, their vision of themselves, and they're critiquing their own skills and talents, and their personality comes out, their ego. It can be unleashed. Some players they're very boastful. I'm the best in the country at this position. Some players are very modest about it. So I like to ask that question: would you give us a self-scouting report of player XYZ? And then sit back and listen to that answer.
Do you find sometimes they're afraid to say anything because they don't want to let any secrets out? Other teams listening.
Yeah. Sometimes their personalities, they withdraw. Sure, John, I bet probably they've been coached maybe by their agent or their marketing people how to respond to a question from the media. So occasionally, but most players, Donna, nowadays, they have, I would say, healthy egos, Donna, and they don't hold back.
I think social media helps that as well. Because you're out there, you're showing you stuff. This is the time to go ahead and show your stuff, maybe.
Yeah, Donna, they've been around people celebrating their talents and exploits since they were in second grade. Because they're athletically and physically, a lot of times, Donna, they've been the best in their grade school, their middle school, their high school. So they've been on the stage for a very long time, and this is just a culmination of their young athletic career to be invited to the NFL draft. Remember, only 13 in the entire country accepted the invitation. Usually, Donna, it's in the 20, almost 30 range that are showing up to the draft. But this year, this is the least amount I've seen in many, many years, 13. But like I said, it's usually over 20. But a lot of times now they're staying home having their own party, and the television camera is there. Then sometimes there's a reporter there on site to interview them as soon as they're drafted, or prior to the draft as well.
Do you like to have a little bit of just a brief history and how they got started? Does that kind of help too to understand the person?
Yeah, the brief history of the draft, Don, is that the question?
No, player, how they got started.
How they got started.
Just
Don,
late bloomers, and those are great.
Yeah, Donna, that's always an interesting question as well. When you're asking me about questions, I like to ask players who introduced them to the game of football. And there's stories that they started when they were 5 or 6 years old. Some of them had a late start in their career, maybe middle school. They were big. They were bigger than anyone else in the class, and the coach approached them saying, "How about trying the game of football?" Maybe an uncle or a brother played football, cousin played football, dad played football, somebody in their family, grandfather played football. So it's always interesting to ask that question about who introduced you and why you became involved in the game of football.
And that's always nice to hear. I think it's the accreditation to speak with someone who maybe was a late bloomer and see how they kind of came out of it, or somebody who maybe had a bad family life and they decided to, I want to make something of myself, then I'm going to use football to make it happen. That's good for young players to hear.
Yeah.
It shows you that there's I can make,
Yeah, Donna, that has happened, believe it or not.
Yeah, O.J. Simpson passed away,
Yes, he had passed away. He was a great football player, as we know, and other things off the field changed the course of people's opinion of him, for sure.
Absolutely changed his life. And I always loved the early story of O.J. I liked hearing that. It's always a way to give you a little bit of drive and ambition. Hey, he actually came from absolutely nothing, and because of his ability, he was able to pull out of it.
Yeah, Donna, I always like the backdrop stories.
I think we might be having some internet issues.
Yeah, look, a few. I like the backdrop story of players, Donna. That's always fun for me. I mean, of course, I enjoy watching their talents and skills on the field, on the court. But it's always interesting to me to find out about their family history. Maybe somebody played Division I athletics, and I always try to ask that type of question as well. Is there some family history in playing on a higher level in athletics?
Absolutely. Hey, Pete, we're going to have to go in just less than a minute. What would you like to tell everybody before we go?
Hey, check out the show this Friday, every Friday, Football Friday, 4 p.m. IC radio. We're on 4 p.m. Central, AP and Kelly as we see it, and we'll be putting all of our interviews and photos from the NFL draft. We'll be there. Kelly and I will both be there in Detroit, Donna. So look forward to covering the 2024 NFL draft from Detroit, Motor City. And thank you so much for having us on, Donna.
Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you guys so much for watching. And you can find us on IC Radio. Again, you can find AP Football Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, AP. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Donna.